How are performers, coaches and psychologists like us who are looking for those hidden secrets of high performance in sport? How do we build a winning mindset in sports using NLP and sports psychology so that we can influence and deliver our best performance mentally? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Gary Lavery, and welcome to the Your Mind in Sport podcast. If you have that mindset where you believe in yourself and you believe in your capabilities, even when you're backed into a corner, you will always come out fighting. And just because you cannot physically see your mind doesn't mean that you should not train it. In this episode, I want to share with you 2 personal stories that will open up your mind and maybe take you back in time to a specific time in your life where you had a similar experience. But just before we get started, I just want to remind you of one of the key messages from the last podcast show. And it was the way we communicate with others and the way we communicate with ourselves will ultimately determine the quality of our results. And people who succeed in life are those who have learned how to take any challenge that life gives them and communicate that experience to themselves in a way that causes them to successfully change things. The people who shape our lives and also our cultures are masters of communication to others. These people have the ability to master their language, especially when it comes to communicating a vision or crushing a limiting belief or installing a new strategy at the unconscious level. Okay, so let's just head off into a different direction now. So why should you listen to this episode of Your Mind in Sport? Well, are you a sports performer? Maybe you're in need of inspiration or just need to think differently about a situation or a person. Or maybe you are a sports coach and perhaps you are the coach of an experienced group of people where you've identified a problem within the group and general chit-chat doesn't seem to be working anymore. Or from a cultural perspective, maybe you need to be more human during conversations with your people to actually show that you care. And if you've said yes to one or more of those 3 questions, then you're absolutely in the right place right now. So let's get started. It was May 1986 and the next Football World Cup was only 2 weeks away. My friends and I were getting really excited about this event because not only were England playing, but there was a new sticker album coming out too. And my goal was to complete the sticker album before any of my friends could. It was game on. In the meantime, I saved up all of my pocket money so I could buy my first ever football sticker album, which was called Mexico 86. And every Saturday morning, my mum and dad would give me pocket money. And then I would run down to my local newsagents and buy 10 packets of football stickers every time. The lady working there was brilliant, and she would let me choose my own packets of stickers from the box. And I would also see some of my friends at the shop, and we would watch each other open our packets of stickers just to see which silver badges or team photos or individual players that we got. And if we saw something amazing, we would shout, "Wow!" or "Oh my God, that's amazing!" or "I need him, I'll swap you now." But after 4 weeks of collecting stickers, I had a lot of swaps to exchange for the ones I desperately needed. Eventually, I arrived at the situation of needing just one sticker to complete my whole album. But that one sticker appeared to be a mystery. Nobody seemed to have him in their albums, or even as a swap. I started to feel really frustrated, hoping the next turn of a sticker would be the one. And that one person who was hiding was called Zico, and he played for Brazil, arguably the greatest footballer in the world at that time. But on this one Saturday morning in June, I walked into the newsagent shop hoping that today was going to be the day when all of my sticker dreams would come true. And as I asked for 10 packets of stickers, I handed over my money to the lady behind the counter, and she said, "I've only just opened a new box about 10 minutes ago." So I picked 4 packets from the back, 3 packets from the middle, and 3 packets from the front. I was playing the 4-3-3 combination in the world of collecting stickers. And with every tear across the top of each packet, I did it slowly, with the anticipation that Zico would be hiding somewhere inside. My first 9 packets had only got me a load of swaps. Now I was down to my 10th and final packet of the day. And as I slowly turned over the first sticker, and the second sticker, and the third sticker, and the fourth sticker, and then all of a sudden, I started playing cricket in the back streets of Horden with my friends at the age of 7, and we would play for hours. It was 1984 when I started watching the BBC Test match cricket coverage of the England games. And it was that Christmas I could still remember receiving a VHS video cassette tape called On Top Down Under, which showed highlights of all the World Series cricket games in Australia, which England won. But it was 1986 when I started watching Horden Cricket Club first team with my 2 friends. Their dad was captain of the first team, and the first team were very successful back then, winning many cups. My club heroes were Stuart Wilson, Stephen Ward, David Sherrington, and Derek Parry. Derek was the overseas professional from the West Indies, a former test player. Wow, he was such an amazing player. I used to watch him and used to see him launch the cricket ball all over the place for 4s and 6s and take wickets with his spinners. And my desire back then was that I wanted to play for Horden Cricket Club first team in the same team as my heroes. At that time, I was only 9 years old, and the youngest junior team was the under-15s. I'd never played in a sports team before, and I also never owned any cricket equipment apart from a Duncan Fernley Ian Botham attack cricket bat. And every time I got that bat in my hands, I thought I was the next Ian Botham. But the one question that I kept asking myself was, could I wait 4 or 5 years to play? I had a long time to wait before I could play my first game for Horden. Sometimes I often thought, what is the point? Because I also had a fear of getting hit, just like any other wannabe cricketer starting to play the game. The cricket ball is hard, and I had to work on that to actually progress and move forward in my development. In 1986, the cricket club only had 2 junior teams at under 15 and under 18 levels, and this left me feeling a little frustrated because all I wanted to do was play cricket in a proper game. But it was then I was invited to attend a cricket coaching session on a Sunday morning at the ground, which was delivered by our junior coach, George Patterson. And George would teach us how to bat, bowl and field. And to start off with, we would use a softball to help us build confidence and learn about what we needed to do in a game situation. And after a while, he introduced the hardball, and I would borrow protective equipment from the club's kit bag. But it was here my love for the game grew even stronger. In my head, I so wanted to pull on the Horden Cricket Club jumper and make my debut in a real junior game. So I kept going to the Sunday morning coaching sessions at 10 a.m. every single week during the summer months. And my self-confidence as a talented cricketer took off. And whilst on a family summer holiday, my parents bought me my own pair of cricket pads and cricket gloves from Pike's Sports Shop in Scarborough. Wow, I was always super excited when getting padded up and would practice in the nets at the ground or even in front of a big mirror that we had in our house. Then when I was about 10 years old, I started going to the Greenhalls local cricket centre in Hortonley Spring. And I went there every Friday evening during the winter months. And whilst I was there, I would learn and develop my cricket skills and would achieve the different skill awards set out by the National Cricket Association. And here, I would also play with players from other local clubs, and some of them become very good friends of mine and still are today. But as much as I loved cricket, football and karate were also a big part of my life. And I was playing and fighting in competitions around the northeast. And I was about to stop playing cricket because I craved for that competitiveness. Until George and other parents formed the first ever under-13 team, and I was finally selected in 1989 at the age of 12 years old. I played my first ever game of cricket at under 15 level against Durham City at home. And then 1 week later, I made my under 13 debut against Gateshead Fell away. Wow, these were exciting times, and I was finally on my way to representing Hordern Cricket Club first team. And over the next 6 years, I would go on to captain and play for all junior teams at Hordern Cricket Club. I continued to work hard at my personal game, and all through my junior years, I represented the Vaux Durham Senior League at all junior levels. I also had the privilege of playing for Durham County Cricket Club at different junior levels too. For the 1992 season, I was voted overall Junior Player of the Year by the club committee at Hordern. And that same season, I actually fulfilled my childhood desire, making my first team debut against Burnmoor at home, playing in the same Hordern side as former West Indies Test player and fast bowler Winston Davis. And also, I eventually got the chance of playing in the same winning side as my local heroes. But more importantly, I played for the club I loved. Then all of a sudden, I turned over my 5th sticker and I saw someone right in front of my eyes looking back at me eyeball to eyeball. And with a sheer voice of excitement, I yelled out, "Zico! Zico! Zico!" And it was at that moment I ran home as fast as I could, burst through the door, ran straight up the stairs, grabbed my sticker album and neatly applied the final sticker, Zico, to the page of Brazil. Yes, I did it. The victory over my friends and the sticker album were complete. And from there, I entered a competition from all over the UK because I completed my sticker album. And I won a signed England poster, which had the autographs of all the players: Gary Lineker, Peter Shilton, Terry Butcher. Wow, just wow. I really hope that you enjoyed those 2 stories. But without a doubt, those 2 personal stories have meaning and were designed to engage or inspire or transform the listener, in this case, you. But did they promote the positive feelings, encouragement, confidence, direction or vision, or maybe something else that you got from those 2 stories? Now, throughout the history of sport, even life, stories, or metaphors as we sometimes call them in NLP, have played a massive part in learning at all levels. Stories can change the emotional state of the listener, and you can pace and lead another person's mind and behaviour just by doing this. Now, one key point here is that stories don't always need to be about successful conclusions. They can also facilitate problem solving, helping us manage a transition and formulating dreams into action. You may need to tell a number of stories before a new strategy is installed at the unconscious level. And just to be really clear here, nobody is actually saying you have to tell stories to your team. You know your people better than anybody else. But if there is a specific issue or problem within your group of players or organisation, stories can really land a message inside that person's unconscious mind. And if you've been a listener to the Your Mind in Sport podcasts, on previous episodes I've said that from an NLP perspective, the major premise is that all learning, behaviour and change is done unconscious. So what I've just said a few moments ago was that you may need to tell more than one story to the group of people you're working with to actually change that strategy at the unconscious level and get them thinking differently about the outcome that you want to see in the future. And maybe you have a story to tell from your own previous experience about the issue or the problem that you currently facing now with your people. Remember, personal stories are often best to deliver. But if you haven't got that message, please look around the world for inspirational stories in sport, business or life that would actually land well with your people. And it would get them thinking differently about themselves, the situation, or other people around them. Now, the two stories that I previously told, they were very relevant to me. It kind of took me back to my childhood. When I first started to play cricket, I had a dream. I actually achieved my dream with regards to the Mexico 86 sticker book. I had a dream to complete it, beat my friends, and I actually did that. And just something unique that I actually did when I was telling those stories was that 3/4 of the way through, I stopped and then I started to tell the second story. And then 3/4 of the way through the second story, I paused for a couple of seconds before that I then finished off the second story. And when I completed the second story, I then picked up the last quarter of the first story and finished off telling both stories. And the reason why I did that was to open up the unconscious mind, to get people to think, what is going to happen next? And you can do that. And doing that is good. And if we can really get our people engaged in what you were saying, who knows where all of this story and metaphor strategy that you may want to consider could actually take you and your team in the future. So what if you help your people break old beliefs by telling them powerful stories from the past about how you did it or someone else did it? How would that change their thinking? Or what if you showed them a short video during a training session and got them to think and discuss what they learned or allow them to come up with a solution to a problem? Would this allow you to get inside the mind of the player? And as I slowly pull the curtain down on another episode of Your Mind in Sport, thank you very much for listening just now. And I really hope that you have got a few bits and pieces that you can now take away and put into action. If you have any feedback, feedback is really important to myself. So please send it over to Gary Lavery at nowtowow.co.uk. And if you are a sports performer looking for that sports mindset coach to help you achieve your goals and deal with any current issues or problems that you may be having, then please do give me a call. And my number is 0191 300 0811. Let's have that chat today. So there we go, the curtain is down. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you again, same time, same place, on the Your Mind in Sport podcast show next week. Bye for now.